We got a bunch of turkeys in the audience. This is going to go right over your head. But if I have my fellow Eagles have showed up today, you will understand this. So let me make this perfectly clear. MMA is not a sport, and a lot of people think it is. MMA is a legal term that can date itself back to the 2001 Nevada State Legislature, where they attempted to get a law passed. If you are not conducting MMA legally in one of the 46 states within our union, one of the 2 provinces within Canada, or one of the 5 countries within Europe that allow it to happen, then you are not doing MMA. It must be done legally. It is like marriage, it is like bankruptcy, it is a legal term. Japan does not allow for this.
So there's a lot of ups and downs with marriage and bankruptcy.
Well, there you go. But
and they often come together.
Hey, pretty good. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Goldberg, my assistant for the night. I'm kidding. Thank you, brother. Listen, here's the bottom line. When 2 kids go fight and they stick it on YouTube, we don't consider that MMA. Why? Why don't we? What if they follow the unified rules? Why isn't it MMA? Because it's not legal. Because it's not sanctioned. Because it's not regulated. MMA is a legal term, and if you're not participating in it legally, you are not participating in MMA. Does that answer your question on Japan?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chael.
That's from a genius. I mean, I could try to dumb that down, but it's very hard for me.
I'm going to have you explain it to me later, peeps. Next question over here. In the Vitor shirt.
Yep, Vitor.
Tough guy.
All right.
Phenom. Tomorrow night against Akiyama.
This is for both you guys. Jorge Rivera says that this could be his last fight. He's been saying it for a while. I think he still deserves that Bisping rematch, and Sakara rematch keeps falling through. And I think he should have been in the house against Bisping as well. What do you guys think? Should he still be around after this fight?
Absolutely, 100% yes. Jorge Rivera has been a warrior in the octagon for years. He fights anybody, any place, anytime. I do the bios before every show, and I look at everybody in which he has fought. He has fought all the greatest at 185 during his era. He's been here for a long time. He always comes to fight. He's found a new life the last few years. He's coming in better shape. He's coming more determined. I hated the fight against Michael Bisping because of what happened. I think that Jorge does deserve the opportunity to get back in there and get his redemption, because the fight didn't end in the way that it should have. It didn't end fairly. I think because of all the pre-fight banter back and forth when Jorge got kneed, he felt, as a man, if I'm gonna run my mouth, and Chael is pretty good at that, I gotta back it up, and I gotta stay in the fight, I gotta show the balls to continue. Yeah, Jorge Rivera, the way he has fought for many years, the way that he's been a loyal fighter and a loyal employee in the UFC, I say absolutely. It's unfortunate for Sakara. I remember in Germany, I mean, his hands were wrapped. He was ready to go when Alessio finally decided he wasn't able to fight because of the stomach flu. So, yeah, I give all props to Jorge Rivera. Everything that man has gone through, the tragedy with his family, my heart bleeds for him, but El Conquistador is a fighter, and the UFC welcomes fighters. So I think Jorge Rivera could fight as long as he wants to.
Thank you.
I second that. I'm a big fan. He's a great fighter, and I'm really looking forward to his match tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question over here.
This is for Chael. A while back, Lyoto Machida, there was an article saying that you were going to fight Lyoto Machida at 205. How close to the reality was that, and is it a possibility for the future? Because I know that you don't really get along with him. So.
Well, it's a reality right now, because he's maybe around 205 right now.
And did you ever think of going into stand-up comedy when you're done fighting?
I appreciate that. No stand-up comedy for me, but I will be at Pulse nightclub tonight, and I'd love it if you all came out. We'll be there at 8 o'clock on. Back to the question of Lyoto Machida. You know, I don't know. Look, I tried to lure him into a fight because I was secretly trying to get a bunch of attention and fight an easy match. That upset Joe Silva, and now we called in the Marine, so I got to go deal with that.
Good stuff, I guess. Is it possible for the future, maybe?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you know, I'm not against it. When Randy Couture retired, they really should have just done away with that whole weight class, you know? They really should have. I don't even know why we have it. You know, we got this karate guy. He had to take his pajamas, go back to the Playboy Mansion, say hi to Ariani if she's over there doing a little show you can pick up for $6.95 and move on. I'm sorry, did that sound like I was attacking a girl? I didn't mean to do that. I really didn't. Let me take that back. A lot of people are into that look, that short, big hips thing, so let me apologize if I said something across the line there, because I really didn't mean to.
Hey, great Flyers hat, thank you, go Flyers. Yager in a Flyers uniform, how crazy is that gonna be? Yeah, Bruins. Yeah. Tim Thomas is American. That's all I can say. That's a good thing. Next question.
Chael, so 2 questions. First question, do you have any aspirations of re-entering amateur wrestling at any point in your career before you retire, and what do you plan on doing if it's political in nature after you're done with MMA?
Amateur wrestling, yeah, it's Olympic year, and I get Olympic fever like everybody, and I love it. I follow it so close, and I just really respect the sport a lot. So yeah, I mean, I have fantasies of that. I don't think any of it is much of a reality, but yeah, I close my eyes at night and sometimes see myself trying to make an Olympic team again. But secondly, in politics, you know, I've got an interest in politics. I got in some hot water lately, so I won't be able to run for the House. I'll have to run for the Senate. I think that's probably more appropriate. They could use another gangster side by side with them. But you know, my biggest goal, I'd like to see Brian Stan get elected to the presidency of the United States, if you'd really like to know.
So the only comment I'll make about the hot water is that I'm a capitalist, and I think you got a deal done, and I think it was a little ridiculous the way they sensationalized that.
I appreciate that very much. That's the way we see it too. But when you don't hold the cards, you just live with what they deal you.
Good luck in your next fight.
Thank you very much. Hey, Mark Delagrati, can you Google capitalist and sensationalism for me real quick?
Canadian over here, so...
Boston Bruins Stanley Cup champions, congratulations. It was hard. My wife's from Vancouver, so it was hard, but they played great. They're hard workers. We got you last year, but now Brizzy's in net for the Flyers, so hold the cup for a couple of months because we're bringing it to Philly next year this time, all right? Next question.
Well, we all know that the weigh-ins for 130, you predicted the Canucks were going to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that was incorrect.
We want to give you a chance to rectify.
I predict the Bruins will win the Stanley Cup this year.
Well,
he's a genius, ladies.
You know what? Tim Thomas stood on his head, and Marchand was the best player on the ice. And to see Bergeron come back from the concussion and play the way they did, I coach youth sports. I coach hockey. That's my love. That's my passion. Bobby Clark was my favorite player, so being here in Philly, it's the first time I've been back to Philly since they tore down the Spectrum. I had a tear yesterday because, you know, seeing the Kate Smith, oh, Burt Watson's gonna get you in big trouble. I'm not gonna tell them how much that is right now, but that's a lot more than 185.
217 pounds of muscle steel and sex appeal, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, it was great to see it for the Bruins. Tim Thomas deserved it. The Bruins wanted it more. And they played like a good hockey team would. They worked hard, and I always say to my kids, hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. So congratulations to the Bees, first Stanley Cup since 1972.
Can we just get you to say thanks to the Sedin sisters, Thelma and Louise?
You know what, the Sedin brothers, the Sedins did not show up, you know, and they were criticized early in their career, and they were not able to show up, and so I guess you could say in these playoffs they were the Sedin sisters. Ryan Kessler wasn't at 100% though. I do know that, because Kess was dominant earlier in the playoffs, and he wasn't at 100%. But, you know, I feel bad for Roberto Luongo, because he's a good guy, but what are you gonna do? Tim Thomas epitomizes, you know, American hockey, and he's a great American, and so I was happy at least. And Tim Thomas is a huge UFC fan, so I was happy to see him able to, win the Conn Smythe and for the Bruins to win the Cup.
And for Chael, if you were to get by Brian Stan, how would you feel about fighting the winner of Mayhem Miller and Bisping? Do you think that would be a step back, an appropriate fight? What do you think about that?
You know, I don't care about those step back. That's such a good question. You guys hear what he just asked? Would that be a step back? There's no such thing as a step back, and I'm sick of these fighters acting like it is. I just heard a fighter say, I am only going to fight champions and former champions. That was his statement. Who in the blue hell does he think he is? What if Dana White came to work and said, you know what, guys, I promoted a lot of big fights, and from now on, moving forward, I'm only going to promote champions and former champions. The industry would freeze. Who are these guys to pick and choose who they fight? I don't give a damn who gets in there. I'll fight them all. Come one, come all. We're having a ball. Bring it on, ladies and gentlemen. You want some of me? Say my name. Step backwards. What do I care about a step backwards?
Next question, please.
I'll go all the way backwards. I'll go to the bowels of society. I'll take on Black House if you want me to. I'll go that far backwards.
Hi, Chael.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, because Black House represents a lot of guys that I don't like, for those of you that don't understand. In case you didn't get that, you can reference it at Kevin Ioli's blog on Yahoo later. We got a fellow Eagle over here, ladies and gentlemen. I think we got a few turkeys in the crowd today. Okay, back to you.
Chael, I was curious, and thank you for the lead, and we have a pretty good idea who you're not as fond of in the sport, but I'm curious to know what guys you kind of consider to be friends, potential training partners outside of Team Quest. I know you've been training with Yushin, but who else is kind of on your short list that you'd almost call an ally, if there is such a thing?
Pretty interesting you said short list.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was
Who are the two people you actually like, Chael?
You know, I'll tell you, there really is a lot of good guys on the roster. And I'm very close with Jake Shields, very close with Yushin Okami. You know, Charlie Brennan and Johnny Hendricks. Mike Pierce is my little brother. We grew up at the same wrestling club since we were young men. You know, Frank Mir. But listen, you know, if you want to know for yourself, if you could hang out with any fighter, you should give a real consideration to Shane Carwin. One, he's just an awesome guy. Two, he's a really smart guy. And three, you get the bonus of his wife, who is just an absolute gem. And Goldberg can tell you, I'm sure he won't, but he could tell you, fighters have horrible taste in women. And Carwin married outside of his league. His wife is just awesome. It's like his 2-for-1 deal. I got to spend a day with them in Portland. They're great people. But there's a lot of, there really is a lot of good folks out there.
Cool. Thanks, Chael.
We've all outrun our coverage in life from time to time, right?
That's right.
Yep, and it worked out for Shane. Next question.
Chael, I'm a big fan of yours and a big fan of Jim Rome. Just wanted to clear the air. Was it you or some Hispanic guy that was on his radio program?
Of course it was me. It was, but come on, was it me? I'm a genius. That was the single greatest thing I've ever done. I'm so proud of that moment. In fact, I'm disappointed that I've just outed it because there are actually people out there who don't think that was me. I was training. Does anybody know what he's talking about? An interview that was done with Jim. Okay, we got a few people out there. I was training at Nike. And we would work out at the Nike World Headquarters, happens to be in my home state of Oregon. And we would work out in the Lance Armstrong building. He's got this huge pool, he's got a building all named to himself. So I'm in tight with the Nike guys, Lance is in tight with the Nike guys. So we go do this interview, you know, and I'm beat, I'm roughed up. There's no way for me to deny it, but the only thing I can hang my hat on is that I just woke up. So I thought maybe my voice had a little bit of sleep in my voice still, and I could play this whole silly me, I couldn't quite hear it routine. So it was the only card I had to play, you know, so I throw it out there across the, he's got the tape queued up. I had no idea he's got the tape queued up, and it was a perfect storm because I just watched Floyd Landis say all of these things on a 2020 special. So I jump on the radio, all of a sudden I'm parroting Floyd. Floyd doesn't get recognized. My stuff goes to the top of the charts. Next thing I'm on Jim Rome, it's 8 in the morning, and he catches me off guard. So I do this whole denial routine. Well, the guys at Nike really think, I'm telling them, it's not me. So they've got this like high-tech sound equipment at Nike and something they call the Hive, where they make their commercials that are aired throughout the whole world. It's like super high-tech, and they're playing the tape of when I say Lance Armstrong, but when I deny that I said it, versus when I say, you know, just something else that's got the os of Armstrong, and there was a different sound in the A. So now Nike, these major players at Nike start to get involved, and they want to like crack this forensic code and clear my name, and I'm sending them a text like, hey guys, you might want to back off on this. You know, I'm beat. I got roughed up on this one. We're gonna have to take the bump. So that's the way that went.
All right, thanks.
Very welcome.
Good luck.
So the answer to the question is, yeah, it was him. Next question over here, please.
All right, Chael. I'm a huge fan. Don't get me wrong. Like, don't take this the wrong way.
Take it wrong that you're a huge fan?
No, I'm a huge fan, but the question is a little.
Oh, I understand.
Don't they always say that? Whatever. Don't they always say whatever you say before you say the word "but" you really don't mean?
Yeah, I understand. Go ahead.
How much crack do you smoke to come up with these things that you say? I mean, I'm shocked sometimes.
Well, I am a brilliant man. And it's something that has plagued me for a long time. And I will tell you one thing in my defense. I do often hear that I talk S-H-I-T, but at the end of the day, in my entire life, I've never said a 4-letter word. You won't ever find an interview. You won't ever find printing, written, radio, YouTube. I don't curse, and I don't think of myself as a guy that talks trash. I'm not in the business of selling a fight. No, I'm just not. Zuffa does their job. I just got to walk to the ring and do mine. That's it. And I don't do that, but I will share my thoughts, and every now and then you get a guy on the docket that you really want to fight with. I think all of you have somebody in your office you'd probably like to go get into a fight with. The good news is, in my profession, I can. That's it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. No crack, no cuss. Chael Sonnen, ladies and gentlemen. And we continue on the Letterman Show. Another Bruins jersey. Seriously, it's starting to piss me off a little bit.
Sorry about that, Goldie.
That's okay. Congratulations on the Stanley Cup. It's awesome. Woohoo!
That sounds great coming from your mouth.
Thank you,
hey,
buddy.
I got a quick question for you, Goldie, before I get to Chael's question. You talked a little bit about Tim Thomas before. Where would you rate his performance in this year's playoffs compared to all-time goalies?
One of the greatest performances of all time. Maybe the best performance of all time. I mean, you go back to Ron Hextall with the Flyers when they ended up losing, but he won the Connie. He was spectacular back then. But when you look at a 97% save percentage, it was as good as any postseason performance by a goaltender, I believe, in the history of the Stanley Cup Finals. It was absolutely outstanding. Outstanding. And it was tough to watch being a Canucks guy.
And Chael, this question's for you. Would you ever have any interest in possibly jumping up to light heavy full time and then, possibly challenging for that title, or, specifically fighting someone like Bones?
Well, I mean, I've got an interest in anything, and I really will fight any one of them, and I think that's a good motto to have. Dan Henderson, that's something that he does. That's someone I learned from. Randy Couture, one of my mentors, Matt Lindland. These are the guys that I learned from. Those are the three guys that I emulate. And, I mean, those guys will fight with anybody. When I became a fan, was back in the Hoist Gracie days. He weighed 178 pounds, and he took on all comers. And, the weight classes came in later. I was already in. I was already on board, and those weight classes came in. So I try not to get too caught up in that, a match is a match, and you got the big names, the small names. There's no different. The octagon's the same size. The rules are the same. You got to fight them all if you're the best.
Thanks, Joe.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Next question over here.
Hey, it's a question that's been bothering me for a while, for a couple weeks now. Did the Nogueiras really try to feed a bus?
Can you believe that? That really happened.
They really tried to feed it.
That's exactly how that went down. Whoa, big fella. And he was petting the little nog. He had this baby. He was sticking it in the grill. I took some pictures on my iPhone. If I wish I would have brought it. I could have showed you. Let's put that on Jim Rome, have the guys from Nike look into it, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, I think you should put them up. That'd be
All
great. Kind of stole my thunder with the 205 question, but I'll just ask you. You've always had a lot to say about most of your opponents. Your next guy, you've said you have a lot of respect for. Brian Stanley, he's a Marine, he's a hero. In your mind, not even selling a fight, but what do you have to do to take down this guy that's just been on fire as of late?
Well, look, I don't manufacture conflict, and I'm not going to go out and create something with Brian Stan that isn't there. Brian Stan is a great guy. I wrote him in and voted him for the President of the United States in 2008. I will write him in again in 2012.
I'll do that also.
And when he becomes the legal age of 35 by 2016, per our Constitution, I hope that you all vote for Brian Stan. He is an outstanding human being. Look, this isn't 1984. This isn't the Iron Sheik versus Sergeant Slaughter. I'm not going to walk to the ring in curled up boots looking for a camel's clutch. I'm not the bad guy here. He's an American. I'm an American, too. He loves the USA. I love the USA. But on October 8th in Houston, Texas, there's going to be a red, white, and blue ass whipping.
Good enough. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you very much, Kat. That will be a spectacular fight. Next question over here.
Hey, Chael. Question.
Hello back.
All right, for there's three people that you could fight in the world, past, present, or future. What would be your top three that you would want to fight? Who would you want to fight? They don't have to be MMA fighters or anything either.
I would give Hitler an ass whipping. I'd like to go a couple rounds with Osama bin Laden. I'm sure everybody here would like to. And there was this real jerk that cut me off in traffic the other day, and I'd like to tell him that he almost hit me, because I had to slam on my brakes. And I had the distinguished gentleman from West Lynn, Mr. Danger Waffles, with me. That's my dog. And he almost came flying forward through the front seat. And Mr. Waffles hates to be disturbed when he's taking a nap. That's a true story. That's exactly how that went down.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Hey, what's up, guys? Chael, I saw that you recently did some training with the Cesar Gracie guys. I was just wondering if you could comment on that and anything you might have particularly picked up there.
You know, every gym has something. You know, every gym's got something where when you leave it, it's kind of what they're known for. The guys out at Extreme Couture are real technicians. You know, they got some of the best coaches out there, Neil Melanson and Gil, and of course Randy's in the room. And every gym has something. If I was to describe the Cesar Gracie team, I would say tough. Those guys are so tough, and they work so hard. You know, I never wanted to fight Jake Shields. Jake Shields is such a good friend of mine. I would love to fight Jake Shields. You should have seen the stuff he was doing to me each day. Each day he was doing stuff to me. He worked so hard for that fight, and he's so good. And George St. Pierre's stock, in my mind, raised greatly after that performance, because I had firsthand knowledge of how tough and how prepared Jake was. But that's across the board. The Diaz brothers, there's even plenty of guys there whose names you haven't heard, and they're tough. I mean, Cesar works them hard. It's very good training.
Thank you.
I love the Nick Diaz, George St. Pierre title fight. You?
Oh, yeah, champion versus champion needs to happen. Dana did it. Dana did it for you guys. Dana almost got himself in trouble, but you guys asked for it. He told you he'd deliver, and he did.
Next
question. You guys know that.
Yeah.
Hey, Chael,
Dana will be here for weigh-ins.
You suggested that Brian Stann might make a good president. Given your political and financial expertise, what are some of the things you might do if you were president to help the United States out of the recession?
Well, it's a tough spot. Look, you want to know who would get us out of this recession is Dana White. He truly would. Dana does something that no other president does, and that is he goes straight to the people and he tells them the truth. Dana had a tremendous frustration from his boxing background, and one of the things when he came over to MMA that he said he's not going to do is he's not going to be a promoter that hides things or sugarcoats things or covers anything up. He comes out, he talks straight. If every CEO on Wall Street, if every president on Wall Street came out and did that, told you what you did at the live gate, told you where you were going, told you where the vision was, and came straight to the people, the stock market would soar. People need to learn from Dana White. If I could read 3 books by Warren Buffett or 1 by Dana White, I'd read Dana's. I suggest you guys do the same.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Chael, how come that fight with Bisping didn't happen? How come you guys couldn't work that out?
Well, it was a timing issue. The guys in California brought me back in. They resuspended me, which they had absolutely no authority to do. They suspended me from a license of which I didn't even have. I had no license in California. But here are my options. I could either sue them, I could take them into court, hire attorneys, go to a state, and sue who's essentially my boss's boss, right? The commissions oversee us all. Or I could just sit back and take it on the chin. And those were the 2 options that I was faced with. I could take it on the chin, sit out another 30 days, let them have their fun with me. Or it would take me 10 months to get before a judge and serve those guys the ass whipping that they truly deserved. So that's what happened. We ran out of time. The camera started blinking, the show started filming, and they put Mayhem in instead.
Who's number 2 on your list for an ass kick?
Who's number 2 on my list? I mean, Anderson's got the number. Listen, here's what happened. I ended up in some hot water, and I had to go before. I had to go to the principal's office, okay? And I'm sitting there in front of 12 good men who are going to judge my fate. They can send me through this door, and I'm going to have to go away for a while. Or they can send me out the door that I walked in. And when I went in a velour tracksuit, white tennis shoes, and with my mouth shut. And before it was done, they said, Mr. Sonnen, do you have anything to say? And I said, before you decide my fate, know this. You can send me that way, or you can send me through that same door I just walked in, but as a public service, I will get rid of Anderson Silva. I will get rid of Lyoto Machida. I will take out the Nogueira brothers in the same night. I will personally burn Black House down. And they said, Mr. Sonnen, not guilty. Brought the gavel down, and I went on about my way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's exactly how that went down.
Man, I knew I was not going to have to worry about my voice being hoarse after this session. This is awesome.
As a public service,
yes,
I will burn Black House down. I know I already said it, but in case anybody missed it, we might do it.
Showdown, you got that?
Turkey's in the room.
That'll be on the next show. Showdown's like, I don't even have to write it down, Goldie. I got it memorized. Next question, please.
What's up, Chael, Goldie?
What's up?
All
right, buddy.
Get the camera on the back of my head real quick.
Can't quite see it.
Can't see it. What is it?
I love John. Who's John?
Yeah.
What's that say?
It says UFC.
Call for a good time. Oh, UFC. Is that what that said? I'm sorry.
Thought it said I'm yummy.
Oh, my goodness. I like that. Well done, buddy. Way to represent for us.
I know you were interested in going to House of Representatives in Oregon. let's say you became UFC champ and you got that call, which road would you take?
Which road would I take? I mean, look, I got a contract with the UFC, and I'll defend that contract and honor it with my dying breath. You know, I'm not one of these guys that signs his name on the dotted line and calls in sick, if that's what you're talking about. You know, I'm not one of these guys that gives his word to people that if you go out and buy a ticket to see him, maybe I'll show up, you know, and then again, maybe I won't. You know? And the other side of that, we've all been sick, haven't we? We all just don't feel, some days, man, you really can't go to work. What I don't understand is guys calling in sick 30 days in advance. Little Nogueira canceled his fight on the 4th of July. On the 4th of July, how do you know you're not gonna feel good on August 6th? Could any one of you guys do that? Could any one of you guys pick up your phone, call your boss and say, hey, on September 10th, I'm not coming in. The boss goes, well, what are you telling me? You go, well, I'm not gonna feel good. I have a feeling I'm gonna have some bad chicken the night before, and I just wanted to call and cancel that. What are you talking about? You gave your word, you signed a contract. A man does what he says he'll do, the time he says he'll do it, for the price he says he'll do it for, and that's the end of it. You know, everybody talks about, oh, the UFC, they've been plagued with injuries. The UFC isn't plagued with injuries. They're infected with cowardly charlatans. When you sign your name on a contract and you say you're gonna do something, show up. People, you wanna know why I'm gonna fight Brian Stann? You wanna know why Brian Stann and I are gonna fight? Because we said we would. That's it. I will not feel good between now and that fight, and I guarantee you when my music hits those speakers in Houston on August 8th, 9 o'clock in the east, 6 o'clock in the west, I will make that walk. I guarantee you between now and then, Brian Stann will get sick and hurt, and he will not call Joe Silva and pull out. Brian Stann and I are gonna fight for one reason, people, because we said we would.
All right, thanks.
Rick Diamond, Google charlatans for later too, please. Next question over here.
If you were fighting yourself, if you were fighting Chael Sonnen,
oh my, what a tremendous treat that would be.
That would be the greatest build-up. That would be the greatest build-up for any fight in the history.
How would you break down the fight?
No, I don't. Yes, I do. It would be an unbelievable series of events as we promote that fight.
You know, listen, I really don't know. That's a fun question. You know, amongst the completely stupid things that Anderson Silva has said when he decides to speak to you people, he once said that my dream fight is to fight myself. Shut up, Anderson. Go fight yourself, you dork. Nobody's watching you anyway. People tell me I sold out. You damn right I sold out. I sold out Las Vegas's MGM. I sold out the Staples Center. I sold out Oracle Arena. And on October 8th, I will sell out Houston, Texas. Get your tickets now.
For all broadcast and ticket information, go to UFC.com. Next question.
Yes, Chael. A lot of us come from Virginia. We always, pack up the car and we always drive out to all the UFC events.
You're a good man.
It seems like it's a never-ending trend with some of our friends. It seems like they punk out. I don't have no money. I don't, last time we drove up to New Jersey, I had Chuck Liddell call out one of our friends and call him a bitch. Well, could you do that for one of our friends named Alex, who decided I want to stay home because I can't. We all sacrifice. So I mean, can you do us a favor?
Let me do just the opposite. Let me just simply say hello to Alex. We wish you were here. I don't want to use that kind of language.
I understand.
But, hey, Alex, we wish you're here. You're missing a good time, buddy.
Alex, you're a punk.
All right. That was from him.
That was from your best friend ever.
Nice shirt, brother. Appreciate you wearing that.
Very nice.
I'm one of your many followers on Twitter, and recently you had some comments about Mirko Cro Cop. I might have missed it, but what did Mirko say to get on your radar?
Mirko knows what he did, and I'm going to leave it at that for right now. But, look, I'll tell you this. My problem isn't so much with Mirko Cro Cop. My problem is with the instant assignment of legend status. These guys instantly are assigned legend status. Mirko, time out. There's two guys in this company that can date their fighting careers back to 1997, Dennis Hallman and me. I've been fighting more than Mirko. I've had more title fights than Mirko. I've sold more tickets than Mirko. I've sold more T-shirts than Mirko. And I had to carry the heavy water. I was fighting at the dog park for free for laughs. He's making $1 million traveling the world. So Mirko likes to come out. He's got all the money. He's got all the fame. And now he wants to come out and get the thanks as well. Well, you're not thanked, Mirko. You didn't carry the heavy water. What have you done for the sport? You took the money. You went back home. I legalized MMA in the state of Oregon. I sat front and center in the governor's mansion and watched him sign the bill. That's a tremendous contribution. I'm very proud of that fact. Mirko is a high-ranking member of the government of Croatia, a country of which doesn't even show the UFC. So what in the blue hell has he done for anybody except fall down? That guy's been dropped more times than the ball in Times Square. That guy's hit the ground more times than the 82nd Airborne. You guys like that? Should I keep going? That guy's fallen down more times than an epileptic's dropped his keys. It's true. Mirko, wake up. Mirko, my leg, cemetery, one leg. Go back to your fake wrestling in Japan, dummy. It's real here.
I'm getting good at this. Next question, please.
First off, Chael, I like to say the funniest thing that I think you've said about Anderson Silva is when you said, I think getting a black belt from the Nogueira brothers is getting a toy in my Happy Meal.
I appreciate that. Thank you for listening. That's an eagle, ladies and gentlemen. An eagle is amongst you. That's right. Give him a hand. All right. Go ahead, young man. What's your question? Say your piece, brother. Say your piece.
Mike, I also want to...
You heard about the time that Ed Soros, the Nogueira brothers, and Anderson all walked into a bar, but there was only one stool left, right? So they just turned it upside down? You've heard that? Did you know that one? Is that what this is about?
No.
Oh, it's... I was wrong. I apologize. I really thought I had that. All right, go ahead. What were you saying?
Mike, I want to thank you again for UFC 130 letting me sit by you.
My pleasure. Happy birthday, buddy. That was your birthday present, right?
Yeah, it could be. I'll be
Did you lie to me about your
wait a
birthday?
minute. Did you get a seat because you told him it was your birthday? That's a gangster move by you. Well done. You conned Goldberg, and then you forgot your
Big
own
round of
line.
applause if
That's
he did.
Beautiful. Big round of applause. We'll have the folks at Nike and the Hive listening to a voice tape on this guy. Get you on Jim Rome. You should be proud.
I didn't think I should ask the kid, can I see your birth certificate? Man, all right. If it wasn't, good work.
Actually, it wasn't. My birthday's in January.
Oh, well, you're not coming back down in January. You've already had your one for this year, next year, maybe again.
All right. But, Chael, after you face Brian Stand... And
Right, the first defense of my middleweight championship. But continue. The people's champion.
I actually believe that.
The
You're my
linear
favorite middleweight.
champion. Undefeated and undisputed. Best there is, best there was, and best there ever will be. Thank you, Bret Hart. Go ahead, young man. What were you saying?
If for some reason Yushin Okami loses to Anderson, would you be all right with fighting Yushin and then going after Anderson? Or do you want to fight both?
Sure, that's a possible scenario. You know, or maybe the three of us don't get mixed up at all. There's plenty of guys out there to compete with, and the landscape changes continually. You know, I could beat Brian Stand, but Brian Stand could beat me too. That's a hard fight. That's a hard fight for both of us. I'm the current world champion. He's a former world champion from the WEC, right? He's coming after my champion. Dana and I sat down, as I said earlier, and we decided that we would give Brian Stand the first crack at my championship. Is there a question somewhere in here? You're very cute, young man, but I feel like, is there a question? Have I answered you? Did you come here to set Goldberg up again? You want to just come down and like take his stopwatch now or something? You little conniving genius.
No. That's it for me. I'll see you in Houston.
I'll be there, brother.
Thank you, buddy. Good to see you again.
Rain or shine, I will be there.
Next question.
Guess a couple questions. Do you feel you laid the blueprint down as far as to beat Anderson? I guess you're like, with the wrestling background, you kind of exposed him in that area. And what kind of advice was your corner giving to you after 4 rounds where you basically manhandled him for 20 minutes? A lot of guys probably would have fought that 5th round a little different, maybe just trying to get by, survive 5 minutes, and not keep taking the fight to him.
You know, I'll tell you, and the blueprint that you speak of is not to out-wrestle Anderson. The blueprint is to go fight Anderson. You cannot get in the ring with this mythical creature that's somehow got these hands and feet that are scary. At the end of the day, when he's moving around and doing all that stuff, that doesn't hurt. I could watch TV as he did that around me. That's not a threat. He goes out and does that and, whoa, my goodness, like he's the Medusa. People freeze in stone. They look at, oh, psh, and Joe Rogan goes bananas. Big deal. You stood on a foot and kicked the guy in the face. I could take 5 of those before breakfast. What do I care? Oh, I kicked you in the face, Steven Seagal, blah, 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 B-level movies. I don't even understand the whole damn thing. Look, you want to beat Anderson Silva? Go fight Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, what did he ever do? One-legged Canadian and a math teacher and beat up a bunch of guys that aren't even good enough to be in the company anymore? It's like the UFC was his dietitian and his lycopene levels were low. They fed that guy so many tomato cans. Lycopene levels. Google that later.
Google lycopene, Mark.
Lycopene
Trilogy,
levels.
lycopene, please. So, yeah, he thinks, yeah, he probably could beat him again.
Yeah, listen, walk out there, punch him in his mouth. As he's dancing around, hit him right in the face, throw him on his back, and beat a hole in it.
Ask a question, son. It's your turn, buddy. Brock Lesnar shirt-wearing dude.
Is Brock Lesnar a people person?
Please tell me this is a rib. Brock Lesnar actually is telling people that he wrote a book, when, to the contrary, there's no evidence that he's actually literate. But he is a very tough guy. I'll tell you that much. I mean, he's very effective. He goes out there and he gets the job done, so I don't know. I mean, he did have to put his name on his shirt so that when the laundry came out, he knew which one was his. In fact, I think you got one right there, didn't you? So, I don't know if Brock's a people person or not. Listen, he does a good job, and he's a big draw, and frankly, we should all be thankful of him. And, you know, all kidding aside, you know, keep him in your thoughts, because he does have his own battles that are going on, just for his own health.
Yeah, we hope he gets healthy soon, another battle and another surgery, but looks like he's on the road to recovery. To come back and be a UFC fighter, though, is tough when you're dealing with the diverticulitis that he is. Brock stays to himself. Brock likes Alexandria, Minnesota. He likes to hunt. He likes to fish. He likes to bring the guys to his training camp. Grew up on a farm in South Dakota. Brock keeps to himself, but if you walked up to Brock Lesnar at a UFC and you asked him for his autograph, I guarantee you he would give it to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. But
If Brock Lesnar didn't give it to you, he'd get
But he's
fired.
not going to be on Twitter anytime soon. Next question.
You want to get cut from the UFC, be rude to a fan in front of Joe Silver or Dana White. That'll do it. Question, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to know, 1, are you looking past Brian Stan? And 2, how can you not give Anderson credit for that triangle he got you in?
No, I definitely would not look past Brian Stan. Definitely not. And I've worked out with Brian Stan, and I'm way too smart to do that. He could definitely win that fight. I could beat him too. That's going to be a hard match, and that's just the truth. You know, as far as the triangle, I do give him credit. I mean, I'm a little bit embarrassed for him. You know, triangle chokes are the refuge of cowards. I would never stoop to that level to lock my legs around a man's head and squeeze. You know, I only gave him that victory like out of pity because I was embarrassed that he even tried that. You know, and he was like telling me, "Oh, my rib hurts." It's like, well, yeah, Anderson, I believe. I mean, your ribs got the same problems that your hands and feet do. They're attached to a wimp. Wimp, ladies and gentlemen. Put that in the queue at Nike. This guy said it right there.
So I think that was your answer about the triangle, I guess, huh? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Couple
buddy.
more
Thanks for coming out.
questions, and then we'll wrap it up with Chael. Don't forget, they're on the scale. 4 p.m. here for the UFC 133 official weigh-ins. Go ahead, bud.
I guess kind of off topic from what I was going to ask, but from that, I guess I have to ask, what goes through your mind when you're in the north-south position then, I guess?
Well, top or bottom?
Either.
Which one are we talking about? I don't know. I assume you're kidding around, but I don't know.
After that comment, I had to say that. No, but
Fair enough.
No, question though. I mean, we're gonna get serious here for a second.
All right.
But I know you're calling out all the guys from Black House, and I think those guys are probably some of the most exciting fighters in the UFC. While some of the guys that you had named are very good fighters, but some of the more boring fighters in the UFC. Do you think you're a little more partial towards wrestling, obviously from your background, or wrestlers who have a background, than towards jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai guys?
Well, I think I'm like you. I like excitement as well. I like a match that there's a lot of things happening. You're seeing a lot of stuff. I think John Jones is a really fun guy to watch because he's got so many tools. My goodness. Most of us only have 2 or 3 things that we do. We try to do that to everybody. John Jones has always got all these new tools and stuff, and there's a few guys like that with a bunch of tricks. You know, BJ Penn's just, you know, he's always real fun to watch. Frankly, Carlos Condit, a guy you may not be following too close, but you will because he's now on the docket with BJ. So, Yeah, I mean, I like excitement too. You know, I don't want to see a guy just go take someone down and lay there either.
Well, good luck against Stan, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll do one more question each side. Go ahead, right here.
Chael, so one last question. You've been pretty colorful in your comments about Black House MMA, and in the process of that, you've mentioned Rich Franklin, who I'm a huge fan of, as are a lot of people. Being a math teacher from Cincinnati, he's a pretty decorated fighter. Would you consider fighting Rich Franklin?
Well,
that's a fight I'd like to see.
I also am a fan of Rich Franklin. He's done an excellent job. He's headlined a bunch of shows. He's a world champion. So let's make sure. I'm not delusional that Rich is very good. It's just a fun thing to say, math teacher. Right? Who couldn't beat up their math teacher? Come on. So that's a fun thing to poke fun at Anderson. But yeah, listen, I'll fight Rich Franklin. Look, Matt Lindland and Rich Franklin got some history, and it dates back a little bit. Dan Henderson and Rich Franklin had a fight, and there was some controversy around it, and I'm from the same fold. So, you know, I think it makes sense. I'll go in there and battle with Rich, but I think his days at 185 are done. He bumped up to 205. He pulled off this card. That's another guy. I mean, that pisses me off, guys. That really upsets me when you won't go fight on a card. Okay, there's 183 employees in Las Vegas, Nevada, that when you say you're going to do something, go into motion. And these guys think because it's easy for them to pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what, Joe, I'm not going to do that after all. That's easy for them, but that's a tremendous problem. You're now a clog in the machine. That's a big deal. People bought their tickets. You said you were going to do something. You signed the damn contract. Come out and do it, you liar. I get fired up just as I think about it. When I fight Rich Franklin, I'll fight him right now.
Thanks, Chael.
And it won't be at light heavyweight because I saw him on the scale. All right, last two questions real quick.
217.
That was more than that, but that's okay. I won't say anything.
Hi, Chair. Hi, Mike. I don't really have a
Hello.
real question. I'm probably mortifying the boys that I'm with. Wednesday's my 50th birthday. I wanted to know if I could get a picture with you guys for my birthday.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Happy birthday, by the way.
As soon as we're done, happy
Okay,
birthday.
Can I bring my boys down, too?
You got it, of course. Absolutely. And final question right here.
Chael, huge fan. Did you see Rampage Jackson talking trash about you?
I saw it, but I, for the life of me, couldn't understand a word he said. Listen, I speak 3 languages, 4 if you count Portuguese, which you shouldn't because they only use it in parts of the world that don't matter. But I still don't understand what he said. They got a whole room of people laughing. I'm going, wait a minute. I'm an intelligent guy. I can't understand. I need an interpreter. What in God's name is he saying? By the looks of his body language, he's got a problem with me. If he wants to walk his ass to the octagon, I'll happily kick it for him.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the UFC Fight Club Q&A Hall of Famer, Chael Sonnen.
Thanks for coming, everybody. I'll be at Pulse tonight.
Official weigh-ins are in an hour. Don't forget, tomorrow night, UFC 133, live on pay-per-view, 9 in the East, 6 in the West. Prelims live on Spike, an hour earlier, 8 in the East, 5 in the West. Enjoy the weigh-ins. Thank you very much, everybody.